Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Sylvester here, and I'm Chip here. We are back from the Maxi Toys. Oh, what's going on here? I don't know why, some random cutscene actually happens, and then somehow when we come in towards this little giant stump, this means there might be an airship for level we're going to face off with. So this is known as the Mighty Cannon Ship. And conveniently enough though is that we're about to be approached into the next new world in the game, which if you couldn't tell from the level's name from that loading translation, I think we're going to be taking place into Soda Jungle after this level first. So yeah, as usual, the airship levels are back in full force, just like how it does in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and they behave exactly like how it does in that particular New Super Mario Bros. Game. But except the noticeable difference is that everything else in every single airship fortress are entirely auto-scoring levels, so just like how it does in Super Mario Bros. 3. But back in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, that some of the airship levels in mainly World 4's airship, as well as the World 8 airship, that those two levels specifically that they don't usually do auto-scoring level. The only auto-scoring level in New Super Mario Bros. Use airship, no, New Super Mario Bros. Wii levels, from the airship levels anyway, it was on level 6 airship, so, yeah, so, for the most part though, that these levels aren't too much difficult than the likes of, you know, Super Mario Bros. 3 airship levels, or even New Super Mario Bros. Wii counterpart. But even then though, we still find these levels in the New Super Mario Bros. U is ridiculously easy. So, yeah. So occasionally at some points in the Mighty Cannon Ship, you're going to be broken off into two different segments, as you can see. Like for one, that most of the time at the beginning part of the level, that you always have a spare time just to walk about, dodging those cannonballs in the process. And then as well as in that though, the second segment which we're about to be hit into is the underwater mechanic. Or in this case, the underwater section. Which completely fills with the red variations of those torpedo tets, as well as the new enemies introduced in this game, although they seems rather usually uncommon for the future Mario installments, because they are you know these little Cheep Cheeps right there that swim about? These are known as the Mecha Cheep Cheeps, which they're more likely a robotic version of the Cheep Cheeps, but even then though, these guys are not much of a, not much to the fried, so, yeah. So once you actually reach to the very end of this little particular airship level, we always have to face off against with Bowser Jr. himself. So basically for this entire battle right here is that you need to actually guide yourself, or in this case guide the torpedo tet at Bowser Jr. because that's what essentially his weak point is. And then most of the time though, it can be slightly tricky sometimes if you're actually trying to aim yourself or what have you. And what makes it more likely to be like that is because you need to actually just use the swimming controls a little bit, so that you need to actually adjust your aiming at Bowser Jr. from the torpedo tet. Because usually that the red torpedo tets can do is the fact that they actually trying to home in on you. So just be sure you don't want to accidentally hurt yourself by the torpedo tets, mostly the red variations, because now and then that the black variations are pretty much straightforward. They just simply shoot straight forward. But then the red variations, they just shoot everywhere, in this case lock onto you. So basically that's how this works basically when it comes to those red variations of the torpedo tets. But if you deal with him like 3 times, then the level's completed. And also that the water's actually sinking down. So yeah, this battle kind of reminds me like New Super Mario Bros. Wii and New Super Mario Bros. 2's Wendy Koopa battle. But except that in we already fight Wendy from before in the last episode, that we fight her from Frosty Glacier level instead of this underwater level. So there we go. You collected all 3 star coins in the course, which sure enough we managed to accomplish that without even dying too many times. So after that though, that we don't actually try to deal with the airship level just yet though, because we have to wait until at the very end of the game, so to speak. Now we can actually proceed to the next new world for Proppers this time, so yeah, that makes it more likely just the more of the Delta 4. Which, if you couldn't tell what this world is called, this was basically Soda Jungle, which basically is World 5 in New Super Mario Bros. U. So yeah, we have ourselves a 5th Boom Boom to actually face off against when we actually get into the tower level itself. And the main Koopaline battle we're about to be facing off against in Soda Jungle will have to be Iggy Koopa. So anyways, Soda Jungle -1, Jungle of the Giants. Ooh, sounds interesting. Because the reason why we say this is because in this level though, rather than we actually not dealing with the smaller variations of those enemies, instead they're taking a note from World 4 from Super Mario Bros. 3 known as Giant Land, that we're actually going to be coming across into a giant portions of these enemies, like giant Goombas, giant Koopas, and occasionally at one point or another, giant piranha plants. Shame there's no sludge bros in this world though, which it might be really interesting if he actually just to be included in that world. But somehow they're just trying to make him, oh shoot. So yeah, I kind of like this level actually, because it kind of reminds me like I was playing Super Mario Bros. 3's Giant Land all over again, except on HD console. So yeah, yeah, if you couldn't tell already, that I'm actually feel a little bit doubly annoyed for today, is because well obviously that Chip hasn't already got one of the most irritating part I found, but normally I actually managed to encounter myself a really annoying ear infection. Well, that happens to me anyway, since I was usually going to do likely just to do shopping or what have you, just to check off some new stuff that is about to come out. More likely this Friday we're actually going to be reviewing Mario Party Star Rush, as well as Paper Mario Color Splash will be on its way, and a whole bunch of amiibos, most likely the new Super Mario lineup, which is essentially the next 4 in European release date. But what happens to me anyway is that I just had a really nasty ear infection, which that means that my ear is actually really painful today. So yeah, that's kind of an annoying thing for me for today. And plus, not to mention, my dialogue is, in this case, some of these speeches for this video, as you can tell, is pretty awkward at the moment, because there's not much else we can speak of. So the third and final star coin in this level though is that you need to actually use a Starman in order to actually reach your way to the end of the level. However, it's all about timing based, because if you time your jumps well enough, like we did right there, and then if you actually try to time your jumps in these little really big sorry, can't speak today. You know the breakable brown blocks? That we're gonna have to usage of those platforms to get the third and final star coin? Yeah. Okay, so we still have like 6 items in our disposal in our inventory, so let's just go ahead and grind ourselves some power-ups. In fact, we're doing this little particular minigame right now. But even then though, let's just keep an eye on the items, so that if we actually do, then we can pretty much guarantee that we might actually just continue our journey for the easiest save or what have you, assuming if there's gonna be like star coin locations can be slightly bit challenging and what have you as soon as we actually get into it. But right now though, we got ourselves a Starman itself, and as well as a Super Mushroom. So yeah, piece of cake. Actually, there's actually quite a lot of things we can actually say about that, but before we actually get into ourselves for our discussion, here's a me first message saying that lost a lot of lives in here. That's a bit of a shame. Okay, Soda Jungle -2 bridge over poisonous water or poisoned waters. So basically in this level right here is that we actually have ourselves a poisonous water makes a return from obviously in the previous new Super Mario Bros. Games at this point. As well as this little familiar log platform that almost kind of reminds me like a new Super Mario Bros. On the DS. Seems more likely the color and as well as the look of it. Even then though, that it kind of reminds me of that. But yeah, I kind of felt it'd be more likely a cool way to actually just to showcase from that. And believe it or not though, that this level actually contains a secret exit. And how do we know that? Well, we'll get into that as soon as we actually get closer towards the end. But for now though, let's just go ahead and get ourselves a second star coin. However, there's actually 3 different methods you can actually just try to get yourself a second star coin, as you can see. That obviously method number 1 is the fact that you can actually just, if you actually keep your flying squirrel power up with you, this means you can actually just fly up and then that's how you're supposed to get it. However, there's also a second method by just simply put, just use the power block and then actually just let this star coin go down, which you can slightly do that. And the third and final method I find is the fact that you can actually activate the P-switch, and then once you do that, you can actually introduce these blocks into platforms so that you can actually make your way to the top, and then eventually get yourself a second star coin, and then assumingly you can bust out these brick blocks, and that's how you're supposed to do it. So yeah, in order to get the secret exit from, you need to actually do a combination of two things. Is that for one, you need to toss that Koopa shell onto this little brick block, as you can see, and then this will actually reveal the beanstalk you go. And also, not to mention though, you need to acquire a flying squirrel Mario for this, because obviously with this green pipe down there, this will actually take you back into the actual level itself. So just be sure you actually just trying to completely ignore that green pipe, assuming if you're actually trying to reach for this area right here. So there you go. That's the secret exit in Soda Jungle 2. Yeah, pretty cool. And we managed to beat the stage without taking any damage. So yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. Now I believe this will actually lead you to a giant portion, in this case almost towards the end of the world. But even then with those two levels combined, but we're not going to get into that level just yet. I believe I can fly. I don't know why I say that, it's because I just had a brief referencing for that. Sorry, I can't speak today, it's because I just did not know. Well, sorry for a bit of a lack of dialogue, because I just, did not else to speak of. But anyway though, so, yeah, I believe I can fly. It's basically just a referencing the song that was based off of that name, which I found was kind of cool though. I think the reason being for that is because of the flying squirrel Mario, for instance, I'm presuming. Yeah, as far as I remember that correctly. So, anyway though. So, there's actually quite a lot of things we can actually say about that while we're actually trying to speed things up in this level. It's the fact that we only got 1 subscriber left until we actually get ourselves the Maxi Toys channel will be actually raised up into 100 subscribers, which is, we're doing pretty well at this point. Because usually we got, right now, 99 subscribers, which is remarkably incredible if you ask me. I think the reason being for that is because of the improvements of the capture card quality and all that, and plus I think that's all I can say about it, besides the actual quality of, specifically some of the Wii U titles at the moment. Well, usually, I forget it. But yeah, we're looking forward to actually just trying to do something special from 100 subscribe special, which we won't tell you just yet though, but you have to figure out what we're gonna do throughout. 17 1-ups. Ooh, congratulations. Finally, as was pronunciation got really wrong. But anyway, Soda Jungle Dash 3, Bramble Woods. So, you know these Bramble enemies from New Super Mario Bros. Wii, these guys are back in full force here, and just like the ones before, you don't get accidentally touched by his legs, or essentially you don't likely, although because of that, he's got spiky legs onto himself, so he's gonna have to be very careful. And the only way you can kill them is by basically just jumping on them, and then also, much like how it does in New Super Mario Bros. Wii, that you could actually get yourself some coins while actually just hitting their heads from underneath it. So that's how the Brambles usually makes a return from that. So yeah, pretty excited actually for the 100 subscribers onto our channel now, which that might be pretty good success for when it comes to this point in onwards, because usually that's even though it's not too shabby for me either. Because usually we did quite well with these Let's Plays. I think mostly the most highlight Let's Plays so far will probably easily be Piglet's Big Game, because I think a lot of people seem to never seen this game before, likely Piglet's Big Game mostly, but even then. And I believe also the Mario and Sonic and the Olympic Games franchise, specifically all 5 of them now, because even though that recently Rio 2016 Olympics did release 4 months ago, or in this case, 6 months ago on the Nintendo 3DS version, assuming the UK release date, and as well as 7 months ago since the North American release date, and okay, I just want to get the 2-digit numbers because I feel like trying to get a new item or what have you. So anyway, for the Japanese version of Mario and Sonic in the Rio 2016, Olympic Games on the 3DS did release almost 8 months for now. Yeah, which is kind of odd. But anyway, here we go, Soul's Stormman for as a, you know, award. Nothing major, but we'll take it, I suppose. Alright, so there's nothing we can do on the 1-up house at the moment because obviously we've almost have 99 lives at this point. But before we actually get into the tower level though, we need to deal with the catching a nabbit segment, and he was actually located in the first level in Soda Jungle, Jungle of the Giants. So yeah, let's just go ahead and equip ourselves a Starman. I know it's a little bit cheap right there, honestly, because some other times though, whenever I play this game on in my own time, specifically when we actually got ourselves the Nintendo Wii U with it, mainly the 8GB version of the white Wii U, because usually I just, because there are plenty of times though, I constantly find myself getting hit by these enemies a lot. Well, granted, the Acorn Plains world is actually really easy because there's more likely aren't any, too much enemies on screen on, the beginning part of the level. Well, usually there's some other times though that we actually just trying to use that, but anyway. So now let's go ahead and just move on to, oh, it says 2 words, yay, yay. I kind of like, you know, constantly doing myself sort of Fluttershy expressions. Okay, so the Jungle Tower, Snake Block Tower. Which, as far as the level suggests, that we might actually go on to the Snake Block, just like how it does in New Super Mario Bros. On the DS, World 7 Castle, as well as the World 8 Tower 2. And as well as New Super Mario Bros. Wii's Snake Block, specifically the icing variation of the Snake Block in World 3's Castle. Now I don't know about any other levels of New Super Mario Bros. Wii that actually involves the Snake Block sequence, but that's just me. And then they also did manage to use that in one particular section in New Super Mario Bros. 2, and that was the Grand Finale Castle in the Bowser's Final Castle, in this case, the Bowser's Castle itself. So, yeah, specifically into World 6. So, this level in general, it's not that too difficult though, it's just you have to watch out for those little, amps that will try to shock you. As well as the, you know, some really tricky, swinging, spike balls, as you can tell. So, let's just go ahead and just proceed. Oh no, I realized about something! What happened? There was actually a checkpoint right off the bat. Ah, shoot. Well, we're hoping we're not gonna die from that part, because if we die, that means we have to do the entire level again. Complete with, we're gonna have to re-grab ourselves the star coins again, assuming if we actually accidentally just fall off to the bottomless pit down below, which that would be kind of a bad thing for my part. So, you know. Another thing we'd like to say about this this particular point of this playthrough is the fact that recently in our own time we're slowly starting to actually trying to continue doing The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, even though that we actually did manage to get ourselves some progression on our own time, which is pretty cool, I have to say. Yeah, I apologize for the little sniffing sniffing nose voice you can actually hear. In this case, a sniffing nose noise, which I really do apologize, because usually though that it's got a slightly bit of a cold, but honestly not too heavily cold, unlike how it does in the previous days ago. I'll say that much. Alright, so let's see how we're gonna deal with Boom Boom in this particular battle, even though last time that all he does is just does a high jump for both Frosty Glacier and Sparkling Waters. So his spell this time around that can actually cost him, he's now giant form. So yeah, boy, doing this battle again pretty pathetically easy, assuming if you're actually trying to stomp him likely just like so. Especially with the flying squirrel power up, that makes him a total cakewalk. Or in this case, just the easiest cake, as far as I can say. So now we're done with that level. And now we're gonna have to move on to probably the second half of the Soda Jungle world, where basically I like how it's some sort of like a reference to Forest of Illusion from Super Mario World. Because usually if you go into this little misted forest right there, before we do that actually, it says Pink Yoshi, I can't spell this right. Anyway, so once you enter this little haunted theme version of the Soda Jungle, that it gets like a pixelated affected on here, and basically that we actually just noticed that we're actually on the second segment of the Soda Jungle. So speaking of Soda Jungle, we're going to be moving on to Soda Jungle's Ghost House Which Way Labyrinth, the third Ghost House level. And just like the ones in the other Ghost House levels, they contain a secret exit. So let's go for the secret exit first, so that we can get that secret exit out of the way. So yeah, it can be quite confusing at times, assuming if you're trying to find yourself some all three of these star coins. But even then though, I don't find the level design for this particular level aren't too much noticeable or too bad either. So, oh crap, we accidentally grab ourselves a fire flower, but that's okay, because usually that the bulb Baby Yoshi was actually there in this level, which is a huge plus. And it makes it entirely helpful for him, especially noticeable when I was like, if you can see on this little footage, as you can see on this a few seconds ago, that it will actually just trying to knock off Boo out of the way, so that if that being said, it won't let the Boos trying to harm you that much. And if you approach to the far right wall over there, as you can see, there's actually the first star coin. Even then, it does shows us the third star coin you need to grab. And believe it or not though, this is actually the exact same location as where the secret exit is, which we did actually showcase until now. But before we actually just touch the flagpole, we're gonna have to grab something, more likely a random power-up or anything. And there we go. An additional 1-up in that as well. So right now we got 86 1-ups as far as over this point, so we got about 13 1-ups left until we actually complete ourselves a 1-ups scenario, which means we can only get a maximum amount. So yeah, we managed to get ourselves a secret exit, and as well as the first star coin, which Seed sort of grabbed, but the game tells me that it was actually the third and final star coin to locate from. And we got ourselves this little familiar cloud platform, but we're not going to that level just yet though, because we're going back to this level for one final time just to actually get ourselves the normal regular exit, as well as eventually the 2 star coins remaining. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, if I remember rightly, the first ever star coin we need to actually try to get from, I think it was actually, oh shoot, I think I picked the wrong door, haven't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we accidentally just picked the wrong door. So anyway, so for this level's gimmick right here is that we need to actually figure out where you're supposed to go by the usage of those doors, so that you can actually, although, granted though, the beginning part of this level right here is that you can actually choose up to 4 different doors you can actually enter from. Like, for instance, we managed to enter one door from the far left of the, you know, or in this case, the first left. That actually leads us to the, not to mention the secret exit, and as well as the third star coin. Well, usually first star coin that we've grabbed, but it just shows, it actually tells you the location of the third star coin. But the second star coin, it was actually pretty simple by the looks of it. Like, you see why we were actually trying to find it. So, you notice that invisible block over there? That's how we're supposed to get to it, and you just simply just hit to the door there. And basically, it actually contains a hidden room which features coins and brick blocks. And then, as a result, if you actually activate the P-switch, and somehow we managed to grab this second star coin. Sadly though, we haven't got ourselves the the third and final star coin to obtain though. But hopefully when we actually finish this level up, we'll try to revisit for this level for one final time. So I have to warn you guys though, is that if you're actually trying to grab the first 2 star coins, is that you need to actually find yourself the third and final star coin when you actually re-enter the level and then just trying to actually grab it. But however, unlike how it does it on unlike how it does it from, which sort of game does it usually have like a situation where, like if you're trying to actually grab something that you've accidentally skipped on, and then you can't just like exit out the level while using the pause menu, so you have to complete the level first. I think it's some sort of like a situation where likely to be, I don't know. I'm just getting a sense of confusion at this point right now for when it comes to that little discussion. So anyway, So this will actually lead you to the normal regular exit because again, the official structure. So you guys should know what we're doing. And there we go. We got ourselves a 1-up right there. Glorious 1-up. So yeah, that's pretty cool, obviously. And we got 10 1-ups left before our... Oh, actually 9 left. Because, you know, the Bulb Baby Yoshi can actually give you a freebie 1-up after doing so. So yeah, we'll actually get ourselves those 2 levels down here right now. But we're gonna go back and do this level for one final time, and then hopefully we can actually show you guys what the last star coin we're about to get. I think out of all the Ghost House levels we've actually been into, when it comes to Ghost House levels, I found myself getting lost in these areas, especially likes of these star coin locations I'm about to be finding through. Because there's sometimes that I found myself just to actually trying to completely ignore these situations. But even then though, I found these to be much more of a pain to deal with for me. So I digress. So if you notice this little whacker guys, they are back since New Super Mario Bros. Wii and New Super Mario Bros. DS, and they behave exactly like how it does in the before. So yeah, so we'll meet you guys at the very end of the level, so we'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and let's just say we're gonna have to end things off here. So next time on Let's Play New Super Mario Bros. U, so hopefully we're gonna finish up Soda Jungle. So yeah, see you guys then. Later fellas, see you guys then.